My name is I'm one of the lay leaders at St. Peter's Episcopal Church, and we're so happy to have you here. It's an interesting story because we've had a Sri Lankan young man who's been a member of this church. He's in the Anglican tradition, so he came to St. Peter's Episcopal Church. Episcopal equals Anglican. And wonderful guy. And he said, we'd like to do some functions if we could do that. And last spring, they invited a monk, a different individual, came last spring, and I said, oh, could we come and listen to what's going on and enjoy what's being said? Well, he said this particular monk did not speak English, so it wasn't going to go anywhere. They had their affair, it was very nice, and we appreciate your being here. Then, when we learned that you were coming, and that you do speak English, we said this is an opportunity now for some of us in completely different traditions than yours to appreciate and enjoy some of what you have to say. So you come highly recommended, and we're pleased that you're here, and pleased that you were willing to share with us your thoughts and what you have to say this evening. And so, with no further ado, welcome to our church. We're happy to have you here and dying to hear what you have to say. Well, I know, I was told that, but you extended your hand.
Like you see, you're telling that there's different traditions.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm the tradition of no tradition.
Okay, so we'll also do this.
First of all my best thoughts to all of you, and of course sorry for the delay. This has been a normal thing in my kind of life. Because when someone tells a particular time, my subconscious mind tells me, and then I don't know how it is. I'm not used to going for program after program like this, and our main program is to have no programs. If you want to go beyond time, spending in the forest in solitude, or on your own, not bounded with any appointments, this is the kind of life I'm mostly spending. But then that same, whatever that came out of that particular practice, this I'm going to share with you all. And you might think, I'm now wearing this sort of orthodox, you have these forest monks, the tradition of the forest monks. That's the type of tradition I later on got to ordain. But my mind, I was in southern Africa as a young boy, and there I also saw our teachings like we have my mother was very religious and we was having all these teachings. And teachings means like she used to do a traditional thing again. So it was really, I didn't see that, because I had a great thirst for knowing the truth and knowing the kind of what is going on in his life. I was looking for some perfection. And this was there as a kid also. My first way was to find a non-stop machine or to make a non-stop machine. In other words, I was trying to look for eternity. But that time, due to my father, the environment I was in, it was with engineering and all this. That time, my father was in the university. So there was this designing boards. I was trying to design first a vehicle that goes using water. Because I thought water is available freely. And if you can make a vehicle that goes, an engine that goes with water, you can just go on, no problem. No need petrol stations, nothing. So for me, as a young kid, it was the idea of eternity in a certain way. Then it went on like this, and when I was, then there was an exhibition I never forget. I was trying to design like a non-stop machine, trying to transfer energy from one to the other. So this type of thing, I had no idea of friction and resistance, this gravity, nothing. So it was just in a theory form. So my father was so nice, he encouraged, he didn't tell me this is not possible, nothing. But this was very helpful thinking. And it went on. But then it went on we went to Lesotho, Southern Africa, when we were 14. And in Southern Africa, it was another entirely different environment. All the expatriates, their children. So it was like a mixed community. The schools where I was going, all over, from America, from Europe, from Africa. Africa, of course, there were so many, but it was a very nice community. So there, I was interested in physics. Because I was mainly fascinated by theory of relativity. Especially the effect of time dilation. Time could be stretched, the closer speed of light and with the relativistic speed. So this was very interesting. That time I was reading all these books, Bible, everything, Old Testament, and I was going through everything that I got hold of in the libraries. And because school was not enough for me, I was trying to make a world picture through this my own way. And so when I was so I also met also Shakespeare was interesting, like out, brief candle, life is but a walking shadow. Very poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage. I think I remember. It's heard no more. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. I can remember everywhere I was taking this idea of emptiness and sort of meaningless of life and so on. So still it was, then I reasoned out, I never forget, another thing came very much, it's 14, 15. Like I didn't do my studies, I was a dreamy child, so I was thinking of all these things, no studies, nothing, neglected. So some miracle have to take place for me to pass my exams. Do you understand my English? Do you? I'm sure, right? It's another accent, isn't it? Okay. So I'm happy to speak in English. I was like in a cage in Sri Lanka, so many. And when I started from Australia, you see, this year. When I come to those countries, I found that I am meeting only Sri Lankan community. I was surprised. I suddenly thought that it was like some Muslim, not all. I'm not telling it's the original teachings of Islam, but some Muslims we call the Brotherhood of Islam. It's like the brotherhood among Muslim people, not the brotherhood of the world. So anyway, I felt the same thing actually. I'm so happy. I mean, I'm pleased when I'm the end of the program. I'm what something of my mind. Of course, my thoughts were always spreading. Even when especially when I passed through the Manhattan, right downtown. I mean, this was the where like a strong energy was in my head, giving these blessings to the people. And I also made a vow, if I had a strength, I will come back to you all one day. Not to you all, to these people here in this country, because I feel they all, this is the masters, they are universal. They don't have no nation, they have no creed. It is like they are seeing a principle that is working in. So this can only happen if you have realized these spiritual things. If you are not realized, you will still remain in a discriminative mode with the lower perceptions. If you have a glimpse of it, it will pervade. You go beyond this kind of dimension. So anyway, um, so whatever it is for ancient times, those lands have been. That's why we are maybe born. There are more suitable support for sure, no doubt. I don't want to hurt them also. But so anyway, I had this thinking way, a direction I never forget. So I have been neglecting my studies. So then one connection came very interestingly. Like sometimes I don't know, I can't remember in the Old Testament or because New Testament, okay, is very interesting. It's more similar to what this Buddha is also speaking. The Sermon on the Mount and all that, they are very similar. So anyway, I think some places, now read one of my mother's old sutras which explain 1,000 years on earth is like one day in those realms, heavens, for example. Then such weeks, such months, like that. And like that, higher ones are like more like one eon is one day, like that. It goes on like that in cosmology. So if you read that separately, it looks like fairy tale. But when you see the possibility through relativity, theory of relativity, the possibility means this. I mean, even if Einstein didn't find out this was happening, this was there in nature, as a nature's law. So that he came to be aware means, okay, that's awareness, but it was still always, there's some operation. It's not just there for the sake of being there. It has some function. So when I sort of, then it gave me sort of certainty that because of this effect is true, and based on this effect of time being, dilated or stretched, and that how this cosmology is explained by who saw this clearly. They had no experiment, they were very clear about it, and they laid down the other dimensions. And so this way, I felt the existence of these dimensions very without doubt. And I knew, having no doubt, and when you're connected, that is your visa passport to go into those places. Okay? So now I have to have some miracle, because the reason is, I have not studied now my exams. It was IGCSE. So I was around 16 I think. So then what happened, in the night time, I had the old test papers and syllabus, and sort of approximated the English language, English literature, essay titles. And then I look at the paper, and when I felt I'm connected to that dimension, like through relativity, when I felt I had complete faith, I knew they are powerful and that power can do something. And immediately I sort of approximated these particular titles. And then after I told my father to take these two titles and get my tutor to write two essays under these two headings. So I didn't tell all these things what I did in the night and all that, nothing. Okay, many years later I was telling when I had to meet crowds and people. So how I came to this path. So then what happened, what is this? After, then what I did was, then my tutor wrote two headings, essay titles. Under that, he wrote two essays. He was wondering whether I have not studied everything. Why am I focusing on just just these two titles? Then I went to the exam, and when I did go, when the papers were given, the two headings were there. And that made me feel like the universe was in my hand. I didn't care about school, nothing. This was like a long search in my life. I was young, of course, I don't know, but it was the yearning. But that didn't give me the idea of becoming a monk. But based on this thinking, another thinking improved. Because I have no temples, no literature, no monks, nothing to that place. There's no spiritual activity. So on my own, I had to think. Then I remember, I reasoned out, if something can go faster than the speed of light, I got to know that through mathematics, certain mathematicians, they happen to tell that it goes back in time. Now, of course, we know a material particle can't go, because the mass increases when you even accelerate closer to the speed of light. It's not practical. You can't even accelerate. Only the accelerators is, I think, 1/4 something. You can, the meson particle, I think, Geneva, they proved in 1950s that how it, that subatomic particle, that mesons live more longer lifespan when they accelerated. That was one of the most concrete, the proof that was given to relativity. And anyway, I reasoned out, if something goes faster than the speed of light, it should go back in time. So can you see my hand now? And can you picture it now? Yeah. Yes, in the mind. Now when you picture this hand, you have gone faster than the speed of light. What we call memory. So it related to me in the mind, the thought process does go faster, in terms of speeds, okay? And it came to my mind that there could be a speed that goes where time stops. That is eternity, which you are calling. So it gave me an idea, this idea of intuition and meditation, these things this takes you into that timeless, it could take you to that timeless dimension. Now, this was the way I was having this thought process. Then it happened when I was we moved to new houses, I remember. And it was a nice place. I remember it was like the Caledon River, and I used to go for walks every evening. This habit was there. And there I had another experience, which was I don't know how to say. It just came in my mind that what are the causes for any phenomena to take place? Something like this, it was a mental picture. And suddenly it was like anything that begins in time definitely ends. This was I would call it a mental, intuitive experience. I mean, the way I verbalize it was like that. Anything that begins in time definitely ends. Even this meeting. So, if for this understanding there's no beginning, therefore there's no end. And I also saw a hermit, like a monk, in my mind's eye, okay? And then it came to my mind, these monks are people who are trying to get this perception, that I should be like them. And that time, whatever I would see, it was like jelly, the mountains and all that. That time, I was supposed to go to Princeton to study astrophysics. Because that period, my hero was Einstein. And so I thought, if I have to do like this, I must do my research in this kind of place. But after this experience, whatever is to focus, it looks like, not solid, all disintegrating. And the longest time that will survive in Princeton would be the granite buildings. This is the way I thought. And I saw the granite building as jelly. So there are all my desires, all my sort of inclination. It was nothing for anything material. And so then in the evening I told my father I want to be a monk. Of course I didn't explain all what happened to me. And that's how this journey started. And there was this change in the body. After this experience, I used to be very hot-tempered, and more when I was a young kid, actually. When I was very small, I used to fight a lot where my parents, I used to get caning, and my mother, they used to feel so embarrassed. I mean, I was going to a good school, but I was like a rowdy, I don't know how to call it, hooligan sort of thing. So, not like other children, exceptionally naughty. So I also can't stay one place. And then we went to Lesotho. When we went to, this stopped. I didn't fight and all these things. Before that, it was Bruce Lee who was my hero. And I was with the bad group in the back of the class always. And I don't know, and then what happened in southern Africa, this stopped because the society there and the kind of the environment was little bit, and for me it's challenging also, like coming from, so slowly that changed to sports. Of course, I was that energy was going for sports like javelin. You can imagine, people used to ask, what do you eat? I was thinner that time, and there was this energy, so much energy. And it was javelin, basketball, volleyball, all sports, cross country, and like this. And also competing with these African boys. Sometimes they were very stronger, physically looked stronger, of course. But this was going on like that. But my anger, I used to get into fits of anger with close people, especially with my father sometimes. So this it's a changing period also, 15, 16, 17. So this was happening to my system. And my father, I feel sorry, and I used to control myself because I would have done something very bad. And I just I used to sort of sit down and sort of, I used to shake whole body. It went on until this experience. Then I was 18 years old when I went for this walk, this experience I had, like jelly. And after that, there was a complete change. And after that occasion too, I became calm, even movements going. I was enjoying a peace that was pervading inside me. And that all that, so people who knew some idea of meditation and this thing, they understood. Maybe he would have, in Sri Lanka, they believe in rebirth. So they think maybe he was a monk in the past or something. They should tell like that. Even my mother, tell you honestly, she was the first disciple of mine. Very funny, right? She used to come, she was so thirsty for knowledge, and she used to knock at the door. And then, because I didn't go out much, I only go for dinner, come back. So I was like inside, I was having my universe within me. And so she used to come and practice, and she used to get results. And so my father was really confused. He was really sad or something was really. So still he was trying to pursue me to get a degree, finish the university. So after that period to now, I counted the times I scolded somebody. Okay, scolded means like, you silly person. I know I got angry. I know, of course, I'm not. So I counted the times it happened. It was 7 times, not more. And and it was all the time. Most of the time, it was it was in India when I happened to go with the taxi drivers. So I think I am bad karma, or they managed to press my button, and because they cheat or something, and I was caught. And I thought, but you can't act. You can't sort of act that you're not getting angry. It should come from getting the holiness within you, purification from these illusions and your attachments. Because normally, the way the person gets angry, you can know from the anger the desires. The solution to remove anger is, we have a practice called compassion, meditation. Not that one really. It's like a surface level practice. It is removing your desires. Because for desires, you lose a lot of energy, mental energy. And when that energy goes away from you, when you're tired only, you feel irritated. So in Sri Lanka, maybe these are some, now almost most of you have come for the programs before, no? Have you? Because some repetition might be a little boring. Huh? But there are more new people, I think. So this is how I came to this path. Then, of course, I had to tell this part, of course. Then, when I was a young, then I came to, what is this place? Then I met my master, who all came on his own. Like, we came to Sri Lanka from Lesotho, and then I was 18, 19, this period. Then I met my master. He was a German monk, a German hermit. And he was a very inspiring person. He was living this life like in the olden times. He never used a vehicle also. He was so ascetic. And he used to come to my grandma's place on alms round once a month when he was in that area. So my grandma was always talking about him, that I want you to meet this very saintly, very holy person, and so on. So one day she took me, and I also saw him like very holy and everything, but I didn't feel the urge to talk to him or tell him, because I also had some pride that I knew everything, like because already I had my own experiences. Okay, tell you honestly. And so I thought, he looks holy, but I know all the things. What is to know? So it was there like that. Also, I was shy also to talk to him. Then what happened? He happened to one day I saw him accidentally. I was going my bike, and there are interesting things. I'm cutting short most of the story parts. I want to give you some points quickly, um, because there is a certain two sides of my life. All of our lives, I'm sure, but we don't notice that. The path going, breaking the illusions, and I would call, dust to dust. You see this, the nature of the phenomenal world, and being detached. And the other one is the mystical part of life, with energies and so on. So this was, I felt, was guiding me, certain angels constantly, tell you honestly. And even this trip, I see this. Because then what happened, I saw this master. Then I was going the bike, I saw like a giant one person, with the robes in the hot sun in Sri Lanka, walking in his strides, it looks so inspiring with the walking stick. Then I recognized that is the German monk, my grandma used to. Then I parked my bike and quickly ran to give I want to buy him something to drink. It was very hot. So I went to him and worshipped and said, Bante, we call Bante, okay, for like monk. Not Bante, I told Venerable Sir. That's how I used to address him. Now I'm learning Bante from here, because Venerable Sir, can I offer you a smack? Then he looked at me and said, this is not what we expect from you. We expect for you to follow this path. And when you meet him, he was like a commando. We really feel he was an inspiring person. And so much kindness and so much firmness. Like I call the nature of yogis, they're soft like butter, hard like diamond. Soft in their heart, but hard for the principles and rules. And, they are so firm. And so anyway, he told me this. But I anyway went to the shop and got a smack. He was going. I went again with that bottle and I said, Venerable Sir, can I offer it to you, sir? And then he went to the side and he was going to take his arms along the road, the side. He put the mat. I'm just remembering like the times of Jesus and all that, I will tell you in my life too, certain part. But I was also like wandering with just being now here. I'm a little bit caught. I had to go with these people, with the vehicles, but otherwise I can't do these programs, of course. But we would keep ourselves independent as possible. That's how my master taught us. So anyway, he took what was it? He took us. He took his meal, and later he listened to all what I have to say. So he listened. I was telling all my ideas, what I experienced and so on. And he also said there's some karma behind it. That means some destiny in you that you're experiencing like that. But he told one word which made me look like an ant actually. And he just gave me idea he was like a huge ocean of, and I thought to myself, I must not waste time. I must get this knowledge from him. So this is where I really got hooked to him. And then I had to wait few days until he went to the monastery. So because it takes time by walking. And then I went and met him. So there he directed me to the old ancient texts, how to refer that, not to go to what people are, how they are interpreting. That's where from the beginning I got to know that you go directly to the master's words. Because people with their defilements, their level of impurities, defilements in the mind, they interpret these pure experiences of who had this experience. They were talking from experience. So you need that degree of purity to really touch that. And no one has authority to really interpret who has not experienced. they will be distorting the meanings of those great visions of reality. So anyway, I told that's how we met, but it took me 28 years, not 28, I'm sorry, 10 years after that to ordain. So I was practicing, I had still some issues to like make my father happy, and because I knew this was a mental journey, not just putting the robes on or something, that you have to be practicing while in their normal life. So it was very helpful for me. I went to the jungle also with my teacher and spent as a young yogi, not monk. But then I had to come back home. Then one day later, 24, 25, my meditation was getting blocked. Then I was looking at it, what to do. Then I took up a job for 2 years. And people thought now he was going to ordain very soon. But now he's taking a job, maybe next will be marriage. But then I went like this and came fully like that. So sometimes we don't know the solutions to our life. It could be something, so that comes, some solutions are hidden, mysterious. So it needs calming down and little bit in reflection to get the answer. So I am quickly coming to a very important thing. Why I am coming here? Why did I come here? Okay. So I became a monk 28, because most of many tell me, Bante, many explain ancient scriptures and they explain what was it, the whole thing, the scriptures. But mostly your discourses are your personal experiences or your personal way of how you did things. And you, of course, a little bit in the end, I show how to use the scriptures. So they are like they are your GPS, okay? So how to use the GPS, I would explain. But I told him, my main mission, you're right, my main mission is to make you experience the text, not just to have explanation of this GPS, for example. How it is made up, just to put it on and let's go. This going part is my main mission, not to sort of now keep on an intellectual level this whole thing. No. So anyway, then 2003, I happened to go through, Sri Lanka, they have the LTT, the terrorists. They had like the ISIS that time. Now it all got finished, like the president, ex-president, this Mahinda Rajapaksa came and sort of, that's another aspect. I wish I had more power that time, but whatever I had as a young monk, I cut across their area. So that was one of my most important period in my monk's life, where I was demonstrating this idea. There I remember, I stayed in Christian churches. They suddenly felt like a similar this thing, These are all the satanic energies, and then there is this energy of soft power, I call it, of compassion, honesty. And there are people inside there who are having the same thing, and they get the strength again to show this power in that is more powerful than this, power of aggression and this thing. So I never forget, really, it was very nice. They were hearing there was a big monk coming, they thought some very monk, they were hearing he's walking and coming from south of Sri Lanka. Slowly, it was going by word of mouth, slowly when it was in their area. So when I entered, the crowds were gathering there, and when I entered like a church there, they were all watching, and they suddenly saw, and they thought, oh, this small boy, like, person. And I never forget, there was priest, Christian priest and all that. I really felt heartily, they sort of, they felt a tremendous gratitude, I remember. And they kept me carefully, and for one night, of course, and of course they came in the night and sort of integrated me. They're always suspicious whether I'm a spy or, the militants. So there's many experiences happened there. But I must tell you, if I was having some traditions, I believe in my compassion to them. And also I didn't see them as terrorists. They also felt it. They told, they were telling once, the Buddha doesn't have, now they see me as a Buddhist monk. They say, Buddha doesn't have a creed and, any discrimination Buddha don't have, isn't it? And they asked me about another sect of monks who are like in the parliament and telling to remove this, destroy these militants and all that. Sri Lanka people are like, very nationalistic. So he was asking me, what about that group? I said, I don't know, I'm a forest monk. I don't know all these groups, but I only have, then he said, yes, we know, you don't have this. I know, because it's just simply, you look at the face of a person, it will show the thoughts in the person. So there are many times, once I never forget, he was in a motorbike, and now first thing they would check whether I have a permit, because for them it's a big problem. Suddenly I am appearing there and don't know who this person. And when I show them the pass I got, they would check, and the first thing they ask, how human beings are. Shapada in Tamil language, Shapada means have you eaten? You see, I was to tell that, like there's someone who can speak Sri Lanka language. They used to always have someone with them because otherwise they can't communicate. So I used to tell them, after they have asked me like that, tell I am blessing them. So I noticed these both of them are looking at me, but not, the other one is not telling anything. I said, please tell him. Then he told, I never forget, when you see your face, we know that. Yes, my friend. It is that's why it's something you have to generate from inside you. It will come out. So there are many stories that has happened. So there is one part, still not the important one, because these are old stories. I'm coming to the recent one which made me come here. Then 2013, yeah. Then 2004, I was going from forest to forest. That was another trip where I happened to experience a lot of pain with the poisonous trees and all that, and able to apply the spiritual the ancient text of observer, being an observer of you, and to see that there's no you as such which suffers, to see that this is like a ego, like an illusionary idea of self. The idea of self comes with feelings and perceptions, and you don't get an idea of self to an empty thing, do you? When you feel something only, you get, this is me. Sometimes now you're seated comfortably like that. If you're on the ground, you suddenly feel numb your leg. Okay, no blood is flowing. And if you don't see it from your eyes, you get the idea whether the leg is there. Okay? But when the blood flows, the feeling comes. The feeling makes you like conscious feeling, this, oh, my leg is there. So you have to, when you're observing and noticing, then you notice the sense of I is an illusion, because if feeling change from one to the other, then you also must be changing from one to the other. Real you should be not changing. Do you understand? So these are all masks we are having, the body, and the other thing is consciousness. So normally in consciousness only, we have these states of suffering. For example, we worry, oh someone, I had a traumatic period, I had this, that. You remember all these things. What is that trauma? What was it? It was a feeling, a perception. But the problem is you identify too much. This happened to me. And you're so sad about yourself. Your real self has no sadness, my friends. Your real self is something that you can control. If you can't control, it can't be you. So this misunderstanding, you have to face that trauma. Don't run away. You have to check that and see. This is a meditation, and really see, is it you? Like for example, if you have to go slow motion and check those perceptions, and you'll find suddenly where you were suffering a lot from those memories and all that, because of your ego to that. And if you face it and then really focus little bit, and you will notice that it was not you, something alien to you or separate from you. That will cool your mind. It will just find a space in your brain which you don't at all identify or worry or feel pain from that. But you have to try it out. Just simply note it, even repeat, this is not me, this is not my true self. You can even tell like that. There may be suddenly you even notice it. There you'll find you're at peace with the situation. Because this moment, now what you're seeing me and feeling, it's only the real moment. And that moment when it happened, it was real. But it was also a kind of relativistic reality. Relative reality. So when you able to take the mask, the illusions away, little focus. These ancient saints, so this is a practice I really got hold. When I had some robbers, I'm cutting short. I want to go to other topics quickly. some robbers, they found me in the jungle. If they didn't find me, you would not see me, okay? I was cutting across this area. I had no compass that time. And many things happened there, but the main thing was this pain. They were looking after me. And there I applied this particular old text. And there I was able to, I suddenly found the pain was disappearing. Because there are two types of meditation I have learned. One is to get concentration power. It's like anesthesia where you don't feel the pain. Now, normally you are experiencing stress and difficulty in life because you are not in that direction. I will explain how it's done practically. You are in the stress part of your consciousness mostly. You are not touching the energy part of your consciousness. So there is a practice which you can take you to that. Like, inside your brain there is like a cool well where you can draw out cool water. So you have misunderstood. You think peace is something when you settle your family, settle this problem, that problem, or like that you think from externally. Now even the LTT, when one of the commanders, they asked me, the terrorists, will we get peace? So I immediately told them, peace is inside, not outside. So they looked at the other commanders and said, did you hear what he said? Because they thought I will tell peace is in the package or, the government package and all that. This was already there. I didn't feel it was war. Nothing. It was a different feeling. Now even I'm going through Manhattan. Okay, I will tell you why I came here. That I must come quickly. So, because I was going past Manhattan, I was very happy. I was not feeling Manhattan very much. It was like dinky toys for me. I'm not telling anything but I was so happy because I didn't want to be surprised or excited by it. What am I doing as a monk? Then I was telling one of my organizers when you're coming, because what did I say? Where's my friend? They are very busy, I think. Yeah. Okay. I was telling him, I was telling when you're poor inside, you feel fascinated by the external thing. Right? So is it right? When you're poor inside, when your inside is poor, you will feel fascinated by the external sensual things, what you see and hear. When you're rich inside, that looks like going to. I just came to my mind in the night when they were dropping me. So anyway, so when I was a young monk in the early period, certain person had invited me. I don't know whether he's here today. He invited me to come to what was this States first time. Then I told him that when I am a perfected saint, that is saint means I understood in the terms of there's a word called arahant in Sri Lanka, the Buddhist text. So I told the name, but what I meant was not the name. When I am completely have no anger, no greed, no ego, that means I'm fully self-realized, then I would like to come. So I was serious. I was not joking to him like something I'm telling. So anyway, time went by, and I was expecting maybe when I was like 40, I will attain this state. But I don't. When I look at my mind, I don't see I have achieved that time. But I did come to public in Sri Lanka. Like suddenly, lot of crowds were starting to come from nowhere. No posters, no this thing. It was like I don't know what it is, like angels are bringing. So this is how I first started to come to the public in 2012. And from that time onwards, 2013, 14, no, 30, yeah, then I went, still I was only doing one program, going back to the forest, training myself. 2014, I was going to the Himalayas, I must tell you, from 2009 to Kailash Manasarova. I don't know whether you have heard this area. In Tibet, Western Tibet. So it is like, I have been going to other parts from 2005 also, and before monk also I was going to Badrinath. I don't know whether you know this area, Rishikesh, Badrinath, and some caves I happened to spend there. So in 9 I was going. 2013 I faced this altitude sickness. 2014, I'm sorry. You know altitude sickness? Like your high altitude, there's no oxygen, and then you see, I have seen people dying in previous trips, and we do all get it actually. But after few, after few days of acclimatizing, it gets okay. But this time, I got it to a point that it was like no return. I'm sorry, not no return, but it was in a severe condition. So this was like while I'm going the Kora, you go around this mountain, and the second part of it, it was like all blue, and uh, and you also get like breathlessness. And my guide and the driver, they are the only two people who were there, and they were also helpless. And then what happened? We came to this lake called Manasarova, and there I was in the night. It was almost like I was not able what to do. I thought I'll not make it. So I was going to prepare. There's a meditation where we have like we watch ourselves to see there like where we notice there's no person. So this was almost, but it has to be done every day. You can't do a crash program when you're going to die. Okay, that habit works that time. So suddenly this habit of watching myself and seeing there's a self and being one with the experience, there's a practice like that. So where I was going to do that because I want to die peacefully, to go to a peaceful place, if there's a place like that. Anyway, when I was going to focus, another thought came to my mind that I didn't give enough to the people. Now it's too late. Now I have to focus. So it was a kind of a regret. This should not come. So I felt then anyway I focused, but then I managed to survive. Okay, that year. So there, that was driving me to do. I thought I have overdone this. I should have. I have something like when you're working for PhD, you can give something from your masters. So that's how I sort of decided to. But then it didn't work out. I was still going to Himalaya. Then 2015, I experienced again. It was the earthquake in Nepal. I went to see who helped me before, but suddenly I saw the possibility of going to the same area, and it was made quickly the decision to go. But some people warned me also, Bante, this year don't go. But I am not a person who I don't also always look at everything mystically. Even some mystic information I would check with so it was a mystical information not to go this time, tell you honestly. So, but it was given me a message, don't go to this time, wait. But when I saw the agencies were open and they were functioning, they can go, they can take you. I did go. And there I went into a situation where when I came to the lake itself, I was exposed. There's one cave I was meditating, and then suddenly I went to a hot water spring to have this bath. The contrast, I think, the coolness suddenly something happened. And then I knew I got this altitude, like I can't lift my hand even. And I was getting breathless, like, running, you're breathing, like panting. So this was like, I was struggling for breath. And when this was happening, I was struggling for this breath so much, like how long to go like this? Then I knew I was got this. And then I was going into like a coma slowly. So now this also same time I did the same thing. Same thought came, I couldn't give enough to the people, but now can't. And then I focused. So they brought some other doctor, no oxygen. They had no oxygen. They had to go contact some people at 1 o'clock in the morning. 12, they're waiting. So I'm just sort of declining. I mean, um, and then they managed to bring oxygen. And there, they actually, they managed little, but until morning, not sure. So I was going on, and they were going to take me by helicopter in the morning to Taklakot, to the border, and then from there. But then the doctor came late at 8 or so. So we had to wait for him to give, they had to tell that I'm really in this condition to take me there. Then by the time he came to see the helicopters, all they have gone. So there's no other this thing. We have to get into the jeep and go at least little by little descend. So anyway, I came to Lhasa after 3 days, okay, but see, many times I was like getting stuck for breath, and then they flew me to Kathmandu. And there I was recovering slowly physically. After slowly recovering, another thing happened. This is the first time I experienced where like the demon that directly attacked you. This is where I have heard in books and so on how when saints are going that they get. So this is a time where like I thought I was many years practicing and so strong, but where I can't explain what it is. It was like my robes were going to be removed. This experience I faced, And like what I cherished or what I liked so much, it was all like shattered to zero or to ground level. And to survive, I had to think in certain way. I was wondering what to do. And immediately one thing came to me: don't personalize this. It's just a phenomena. It's just a happening. And the word personalize was not strong enough. So I made my own wrong English term. It's called don't egolize it. Just to, because don't solidify this. It's just a happening and just let it pass away. And when I was able to do like that, I was able to go forward. And then I got to know the demon attacks you mainly from your ego. And this is a common effect that happens to all who are going on this path. So where we are really put down is that it's not the problem itself, it is the worrying of the problem, that it happened to you or somebody did for you, something like that. Where you just see it's just a happening and you are able to see it's the illusion, you are just going ahead and it's gone. This is not you there. So when I was able, I managed, and I realized that these problems come when you're close to a goal. When your gems are waiting in front of you, these problems come. Like in Ragai, when you're coming to the try line, all the problems come, all the people come and tackle you, right? So same way, when you're coming to a achievement, you'll find so much. If you're not having problems, then you should worry. If you're having sufferings, then you know that you're doing something in life. And you become a master of life. So this is the reason. Then 2016 was, I still went. 2017 also I went after Australia. So Australia only I started. I accepted the invitations and then started to go, and then the YouTube, then from YouTube to invitations here, like that. But I'm going again. Now I'm waiting to go also because too much programs and too much with people, and I am sort of waiting to because I want to do something one day. This is my dream, that I hope I can make you all faint, that you get some power, some faith, that there is some force behind this. And I must tell you, a main person who was a main inspirer for me was, I feel very similar to that particular saint, Saint Francisco of Assisi. Saint Francis. I was like in one ashram in India one time, and I knew there was some program going on of a certain saint. So I just thought, okay, some Christian saint, okay. I didn't feel like, I thought maybe time to pass, just some time is there, so I just went inside. But when I was seeing this picture, my goodness, it was like my same spirit. I was crying and crying and crying. I would tell you, it was like something like same spirit. I feel myself similar in this modern day, because like we can see the spirituality has become so materialistic today. Now I tell even my brother monks, if you don't have a cell phone with you, it's like you have seen eternity. Like we have like you are a saint today. So it has deteriorated to this extent. So something I see that very similar for the same ascetic life and this mystical kind of sort of guidance, very very similar. So I was very fortunate this time. I felt like this was some miracle also. I was in France. There's a program there, and then in Paris, the last minute it was arranged for me to go to St. Francis where his tomb was. For me, it was a great occasion. For me, it was really. And another one was the flying monk, Joseph. Have you heard of him? In Italy, there have been a lot of saints. Joseph, I don't know whether you know. So all this, and also Yusuf. Yusuf? Yusuf in Muslim, Islam, they have Joseph. Joseph, right? About Joseph. This is so much, I don't, the compassion, the wisdom, simply those qualities, when you look at it, it is coming from a high consciousness. And I really feel so much like it's only the outside. That's why if you take traditions, tradition means it's poisonous to religion actually. It is destroying the real spirit of this thing. And because the experience, the original experience. So normally I say, if you don't have a long face, that's good enough today. And you have this, don't tell your Buddhist or Christian or Muslim, don't tell. It's a disgrace for this thing. First have a smiling face. Let's see. Like, someone was telling, like, one couple, there was this one couple, and the husband was telling wife, she was going to prepare some food, I don't know, macaroni or something. So husband said, well, don't name it yet. After you cook, when I eat, we'll name it. She was not a good cook. So it's like that. First, don't put yourself whether you're Buddhist, Christian, nothing. Show you by your actions, your life. I heard in Birmingham, there was one Sri Lankan lady who was visiting one kind of, what is this, not a, one shop to a grocery. So this boy, he was telling how he became a Buddhist. He wanted to see the Buddha, what made him. So he was saying even young age, he was impressed by something. He was saying one instant was, he was going, what was it, he was in the mother's grocery. He found one Asian lady coming and buying something and going. So he was curious about this lady. So he asked the mother, who is that lady? Then she said, she says she's from Sri Lanka. And she looked poor also. She buys a small thing and go. She doesn't buy anything expensive. So then she asked, why she looks always happy? This was what he noticed. Then the mother said, because she's a Buddhist. I don't know. So anyway, so another one I remember while I was speaking about this. I always stress about today. This is my main point: is to stress about the practice of things. So I heard that there were some old saints who were not very educated. I heard. I had two stories. I will tell both, and we'll see. I go to my some main points. There was one old like we could say someone who's very learned in the scriptures, and he got to know some simple living three saints who were living in an island. I don't know whether you've heard this story. So when they were in this island, he got to know that they were only telling three are one and one is three, something like that. The Trinity is one, and like they are interrelated and interconnected. So he thought they only know this. I should be compassionate to explain to them something in more detail. So he went with the boat, rowing the boat, and then he taught them for 1 week, 2 weeks, and he went back, rowing back. So they were very, they were so grateful to him, and sort of. And when he was returning back, he could see three lights floating towards the boat. So so he was suddenly seeing these three lights, and then he was wondering what it is. When he was coming close, he saw these three saints, floating in the water. And they were telling, one of them telling, what is that last verse you were telling? We forgot that. Then he looked at them and said, no, you remember your old one. No need to remember anymore. So, yeah, this is also very important, I think, the practice of it, and to really master this. There's another one, Okay, I don't know why I remember these three suddenly. I never told in the programs, right? Okay, these are new for you also. This was in a cabin in one ship. There was an old cabin boy, who was doing this job for many years. He was not educated, nothing. I don't know whether you know this. I don't want to tell what you know. So there was one learned young professor, I heard. So he was in this thing, and when he came, he was wondering, what did you, I am a cabin boy for long years. So he said, did you not study anything like geography or about the planet and the earth and so on? He said, no, I was uneducated and all that. Oh, you have wasted quarter of your life, And then another time he comes and asks, at least did you not study oceanography and, about the where you're always busy with your ships and all that? Then he said, well, I had no time. I had to earn for my living and all that. So then you have wasted your half of your life, just going like this. Then one day this cabin boy or this elderly, gentleman, he comes running and saying, sir, professor, he asked, do you know swimology? Then he said, well, what is that subject? Do you have a subject like swimology? He said, our ship has struck an iceberg, and all who can swim, they can swim across, and they are going to. He said, oh, I can't swim, he said. Then you have lost, all your life. So actually, Yeah, this, if you're able to keep your coolness, the practice of it, not no point knowing so much knowledge also. This thing you master, you begin to see. Like when with the LTT, I didn't see them as those terrorists. I saw them as, even when I see some people, I see their, I don't know how to say karma or some destiny, in them. Now I remember in India, I had this experience. Like I met some of my, I would say, some masters. So they actually very. I will tell you this part. um, I had a tough time with all these achievements. They were always tough times. So I know the terrain, the destiny. When you're having problems, I know, okay, he's going to have a good time. That's why he's having problems. It's a good sign. So in 2011, before I came to public, I went through a very tough time. It was so some of my masters told me before this exact the month and period. I mean, I have no time to explain it in detail, but I just want to give you this idea that exactly when it was going to happen and so on, and like that I was expecting, and it was taking place. So I understood. I didn't blame anyone. I knew this I had to go through, and they told me, like, your last sort of karmas you have to go. It will be painful also. 2011. So, and when that time came, it started to happen. And it happened where I was surprised, who can hurt me? Because I have not much attachment, no relationships with anyone. But the very few people I had contact, I never expected them to do like, I mean, to become so unpredictable. It happened and it just suddenly got me. And then I knew, what you have to experience, you can't escape. It has to come. And there it also polished my practice of not identifying with it and just to let it go, pass by. And it's not to take it personally as me and myself. So then after that only I came to public, 2012. Now some 1 year back, before all this experience, there was one particular, who could say one of my masters, I would say, not the German, he passed away long time, but one particular guide, I would say, he told me, this 2011, you will be going through this exact month also, and how I'll be recovering in August first. So it all happened that way. And he told me, what was it? 2012, you will be teaching thousands of people. He told a name I can't tell. It's not nice for me to tell that, whatever. But anyway, so I am also studying. I asked, on what basis are you telling, sir? Like, you're just looking at me and telling like this. Then he said something in your eyes, something, the certain signs of, which is in the body, which shows certain destiny, certain mark or something. Okay, I just listened to him. But I told you 2012, this was not planned or anything, just it how I came to public. And so, so this is also sometimes helpful for you. Now I'm going to a very important topic of the practice, okay? How much time do we have? I don't know. 40 minutes more. Okay, I must cover some things. Now, normally in our life, we have, suddenly in our life, we put ourselves into mud. Okay? We notice that. We are doing everything okay, and suddenly we realize we want to go to Manhattan somewhere, and we get distracted. Now, we also come for these programs and things like that. We are driven. So I notice when you are doing like that, what is it? So normally it is when you want to put ourselves in mud means you are doing something with negative energies. So I noticed this in this modern time, who are really destined, who are really who are to do great things only. Sometimes you find the negative things are covering them and sort of keeping them. So this I notice that putting to mud means, like, say you are things you do which is hidden, which you don't want anyone to see or notice. So this is actually damaging your growth of your awakening of your consciousness or your soul to get its purity. And so when you know this, you have to notice this. So whenever you are doing like that, that means you are activating your reptilian brain. Lot of greed, lot of anger, lot of delusion. Okay? When that is high emotions, whatever you are doing where there's high emotions, you are tapping lower dimensions. So there are beings in those lower dimensions enter your system. Okay? When they enter your system, they give you the energy to do the sinful things. They give you suddenly to distract yourself. So today, and then you want to go, even you do the good things, because that good nature is there, the potential in you. So this is covered. So you must recognize whenever you find you are suddenly distracted. So today it happens in so many ways. Normally it is called the dopamine rush, we go for like even alcohol or anything, now today with the computers. That is so much happening because the sensual world, there's so many things that are like, got to know games or even other things, so many other things where suddenly you feel like that excited feeling, then that same addictive thing, damage is happening. Okay? So when this is happening very much, you must know there are invisible forces you have invited. Okay? So that drives you. Now two things drive you to do the sinful things or the negative. The one that drains and sucks your energy. That is, one is the negative forces that you have invited from the lower dimensions, because you have raised the frequency to that level and they happen to enter. They are not seen. From your actions you can know. Now I am revealing some of the things you will notice in your life if it is happening. And the other one is wrong view. Means I justify that sin. Maybe you'll tell, okay, it's good for my cholesterol. Or it's a biological need. Something like that. So that you can enjoy the sinful thing. Otherwise you can't go through that. So when this way you do, now people like us, big problem. They are breaking that delusion and you just have to take a U-turn. So when you get that fear, you should get it. When it knows graphically, when next time the temptation comes, maybe someone is going to call you a friend who is going to take you somewhere, I don't know, a spa or something, okay, somewhere in Manhattan, and then oh, these demons are there in me, or the Las Vegas, you want to do gambling there, okay, something you get suddenly, there definitely these forces are there with you, and you don't want to destroy yourself, right? Now I'm telling you all the points that will going to reduce your stress. Now normally people know only about mindfulness. I will come to that. The ancient text talks about 4 that contributes to stress. Because you think it's only one side. It's your lifestyle also completely. Where you're draining your energies. So whenever you have to do something intoxicating or a lot of delight, the energy is taken out from the system, and then you feel so tired and exhausted, and that restlessness comes. So anyway, when you know that there's this damaging effect, next time when someone comes to call you to take somewhere, you don't want to hurt yourself. So you can avoid that. Then 2 days, 3 days, you were able to avoid like that. Then the opportunity comes for the brain to get repaired, to get again formed. So when you do it for some time, you are going to slowly get some idea of relaxing and tranquilizing. You get some idea how to do it because you're conserving a lot of energy, which you're normally using from all these negative things. So when you're having that energy being reserved, you get that restful experiences. Then you can pursue meditation or any other practice. You'll be able to be successful. And if it happens where you're tranquil, certain other hormones also get formed in your body. For example, we know like adrenaline is formed when you get frightened and all that. Now we know that substance make you have those emotions. Now when you get calmed down also something gets formed in the body. That is called ojas. You don't have in medical terms that word. It is normally the Ayurveda. They have got to know it's a very fine form of substance which is opposite to the poisonous ones in the body, which normally goes through the nerves to the brain. The areas of brain which was not functioning start to function. And when they get deposited there, and when they get deposited, they make you have those those good drives, good positive energies or thoughts or thinking processes. And when that happens very often, you create a cycle, a counter cycle, which is going to replace that poisonous cycle. And when that happens very often, you can see something in your aura or your body also. I will tell you that. There will be a shine in your cheeks and your forehead and the nose here. So I tell many people, you don't have to apply Nivea. You have Nivea here, right? You don't need. You will have that natural charm coming. This that comes from great character and kindness and less. So this is a hormonal process that changes in your body also. So many who know this, they do yoga and all that. Some models and all that, they know about this. It's not just this lipsticks or what is cosmetics. It's that natural beauty that comes from the heart being purified. I mean, there's personality being formed. Now, when you do the other way, You may have a bath and come, you'll have a suit and all that. Your personality's been, you become like a clown. You understand? You look like a clown to the world, but because most of them are clowns, so no problem. So there is no big difference. So, but otherwise, your personality has been destroyed, my friends. Now, tell you honestly, some of my organizers have told me to tone down my way of this thing to, I mean, I'm sorry, they only just once mentioned to the American public who are, no, I believe they are destined for something. And I'm sure I'm not coming to rock you in your cradle. I am coming to give you a commando teaching. And so these are some things I believe we are not meeting if this is not possible in you. There is the potential. I believe the great souls are born all over the world. They are here scattered everywhere. And I'm sure this revolution you can do in this system. And you have to, so I'm just pointing where you find you are going for the negative ones. Now you could understand there are some forces driving you. The another one was, I had an experience with some rishis who had developed some mind, like some saints, who were able to bring in the invisible forces behind you into the body. Now they can't be seen here, right? Now, they had the power to sort of bring that force, and the person is unconscious. I don't know, have you ever seen this kind of thing? And another person talks through possessed or something. Okay, so there was one one mother who was having a child who was not obedient and all that, and so she brought this child to this particular saint. So I saw this happening, and when I was looking, I just suddenly saw that this boy became unconscious. Someone else was talking. So then he was like this, something like that. That's, who are you? Then he said, some snake spirit or something. Then, when did you come? He said, no, yeah. Which age did you? What time? Something like what age did you come or something like that. Then he said, when he was 13 years old. How did he come? When he was playing games. I was surprised. What are these games related to? Computer games related to this kind of thing. But later I got to know, now normally when you develop a high consciousness, have good thoughts, like compassion or concentration, these thoughts bring a higher consciousness. Now when you have kill, shoot or something, or suddenly some very sensorial, exciting thing, that creates a lower consciousness. So then I understand, right, okay, the spirits enter because you are putting your mind to a lower frequency. So there, another occasion, and also I found later with the dopamine that is released is equal to the Oxford University. They make this clear research that the alcohol addicts, who are addicted, same release of dopamine is released in computer games. The same brain thing is happening. So today we don't have alcohol, we have other forms of where when we find we are addicted, we have to repeat again and again. Surely this is going to be definitely this dopamine is same, and the spirits are in your body. You should know this. So now another place they say when he entered the body, this person said that he entered through Facebook. Now I only know the name Facebook. I don't know. You know better. I have operated YouTube. Okay, I know YouTube. But but Facebook, I only know the name Facebook. But I can understand the computer is, my friends, is neutral. It's just an instrument. The problem is it's not used by saints. It's used by people who have still temptation, who are subject to temptation, who have not realization. And so you must know that. But now we can't say to remove computers. It's not practical. You can only be knowledgeable that this possibility is there, these things are happening, so you can be on your guard. Now another question comes when I say this, especially regarding children and your loved ones. You feel sorry, how to change them, and if they're happening now, how to protect them. I see that you should, you have some controlling power when you control yourself, actually. So if you want to change somebody, better to change yourself first. And even the worrying of children is your lack of inner purity and inner detachment. You're so much sensorial that you've forgotten God or any higher things of understanding. So you become so, if you're lacking peace of mind, surely you're in the realm of the demon, So when you have peace of mind, but that comes from practice, some sort of exercise and some way of doing things. So so for children also, I don't think, like if you have prayers in the morning and evening together, the family, they have found very well that they don't go for all these drugs and all that where they have been going for church and all these things. So this is a counter force you can create. You don't tell them to stop these things. You bring them at least until the age of 18. Now there's another thing. How can you be effective? I always bring this story regarding Swami Vivekananda. Have you heard? Swami Vivekananda. If you want to change your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your child from going wrong way, you feel, oh, how am I going to help? Now I know one mother, her son was taking drugs and all that, and then he was not coming. He was going from one gang to the other. Then he was wondering how to. Then she was my friend actually. I knew her very well for long years, and what she did was she took certain vows to herself and started fasting and meditating, and she waited. She allowed some external the higher forces to solve her problem, but she sort of sacrificed something and started practicing it. And when it came to the seventh day, suddenly the son from nowhere is coming. Where is Mama? Where is Mama? So there is that controlling power, my friends. And I remember there's another story about one. I always tell it must be boring for the people who have come before, but I must tell there are a lot who are new. Have you heard of Swami Vivekananda? Vivekananda, Parliament of Religions in Chicago. This was in 1895. There was from all over the world, and many, like there was a big parliament of religions from all, representing all religions. And this Swami Vivekananda was a young monk. He had to face sufferings a lot, like he lost his way, he had no address, but some divine thing guided him to this parliament of religions. And he entered this, and then he was very shy to speak. It was like 7,000 people, the auditorium there. So he was just keeping last to sort of go and speak. So what happened? Finally his turn came, and the moderator said, Swamiji, it's your turn, please, you have not spoken. And then he got up and first words that came out was Sisters and Brothers of America. You have never heard, no? It they say his voice was like a Chinese gong. And there's a nice thing about it also, but this is too much for me also. He says, someone asked, what was that power, Swamiji? In papers it was going on, he said that they felt like paying tribute to something which they didn't understand what it was. In Chicago Times and all this, there were a lot of sort of articles about what happened that time. It was phenomenal, So he was actually later asked, what was that power that emanated from you, that sort of created in people some sensation? Then he said, there's 12 years, there is a practice in yoga, in the Hindu tradition, where they keep away, they control even the thinking of sexual thoughts. Now that was too much when I heard. I can't relate my life to his way of. I can relate to Mahatma Gandhi, where he was struggling and he was managing to broad. But it was too much for me to think, So I'm not expecting you all to get anything, just some direction of thinking. So he did this practice for 12 years, and he says there's like a web in the brain which is removed when that practice is done, and when it was removed, there's like a super brain that starts to work. There's a lot of memory and strength of mind and all the knowledge stored in that particular part of the brain. So that brain, that purity, he said, broke out that time, which he practiced for 12 years. So anyway, then another question that was asked regarding, the practice, like one boy was brought to him. The mother was upset because the boy was fat and he was not taking any, he was getting fatter and he was eating, addicted to sugar and sweets. So he was brought to the Swamiji for some, the monk, for some solution. So he said, Swamiji, can you give him a mantra or something? He's eating sugar and all that. So he said, come after 10 days, then I will give you something. So after 10 days, she brought the boy again, and then then Swamiji told, son, hereafter don't eat sugar. Then the mother was wondering, he asked, what about the mantra, Swamiji? Then he said, this is the mantra. I give the instruction. And he said, you should have told this 10 days back. Then he said, what was it? 10 days ago that he was eating sugar. So the last 10 days, he stopped eating sugar. Do you understand? For the last 10 days, 10 days ago, he was also eating sugar. So he stopped eating sugar for 10 days. And then he told this. So when you do something and you say, there is some power in it, a mystical force. Like in Sri Lanka, someone was telling me, Bante, there are so many monks in Sri Lanka, like they are preaching everywhere here, but nobody is changing. So I didn't have the answer that time. So I thought slowly and I did get the answer. Why is it not changing? Because the people who are delivering this truth, they are not pure themselves. They are not practicing anything. If you are pure yourself, there's a mystical force that goes. And then the people just have to change. So I have noticed this in certain wives who they never complain the husband is doing this or that. No, they just continue their work, even if they are doing something. But for that you need certain detachment. It's not easy. Otherwise you suddenly expect something and something else happen. You get so angry and you like really torture or sort of be spiteful. But then you will have what you do. You'll get. So this is some few points I want to tell. Okay, now I will tell practically. Now I told the main energy loss. Now there is very well found that mindfulness helps so much in stress relief. Okay, this is now very much in quantitatively they have measured scientifically how the brain works. So even now when you pay attention to the feeling your feet touching the floor and just what you're holding in the hand, just immediate sensations that they have found, they have called it the stress busting something, techniques. Now, my friends, this is only one. There are three more in the old text. This is I call where you touch that cool part of your brain. That is like the cool pond in you. So now, when I was going in London and all that, now people who are taking me, the organizers, some of them they they know that I don't like to talk. It has been told to them that Bante don't want to talk when he's going. He wants to meditate in back of the seat. So suddenly they are so tempted to talk something, ask something. So they ask Bante, "Can we ask something from you?" I of course say okay. Then they say they talk this and that. They want to ask so many things. So main question they ask is how to meditate while living the normal life. So now I thought all the time explain won't do. I had to demonstrate this. So what I did was I told my friend, we'll practice now. So one of them I told, just you feel the steering wheel, the leather. You just feel it, okay? And he started to feel. And then the seat is like, it's like reclining. So he was like this. It was an uncomfortable posture. I told him, you think you're relaxing in front of the beach or somewhere. So just relax, go down back and feel the seat touching your back. So he was doing that and I saw him and suddenly stopped talking. So I also kept quiet. I didn't give him more instruction because I know this simple thing he will start to. Now he was getting that coolness because he was that monotonous, the present moment, that paying attention to that simple function allows the mind to sink in. And there you are feeling the coolness, means equanimous state. More that equanimity is the coolness, where you don't feel stress, you're getting energy. So when he started to do that, you're touching the energy part of the brain from the shallow stress part. It's going into. So we went on. I didn't do anything. I knew he got something. So at the end of the journey, he was suddenly telling Bante, I never experienced this kind of peace. So simple. And I wish you are always with me, next to me, But anyway, so later I found that this was going like viral, When next who is picking me up, he has got to know. So he said, 4 hours I have been driving Bante. I didn't feel the time. I was practicing this whole. Now what to do next, he was telling. I'm just holding and watching this. So slowly, step by step, we'll go. So these are basic. This is one mindfulness. Now there's another one, which we Now I don't want to reveal all these things, otherwise NASA will take all these things and put it like their label, Not NASA, they have, what is it? Because this is inner engineering. I have my spaceship that is sent to the inner space. This is outer space, this is inner space, okay? So anyway, um, so what happened? Yeah, it's simply this very similarity is there actually. It's very nice, very interesting. These are like very similar. But this civilization has gone very much externally, and it's very similar which has gone internally. So anyway, the other one is called sense control. Okay. Now I can look at you like, now this will stop, reduce your monkey mind. Now we all want to reduce our monkey mind, right? So now when I look at you like this, I look focus, am I? You can look at my eyes. Okay. Now how do I look? Do I look focus? Do I look focus? If you look at my eyes, now I look focus. Okay. Now, do I look focus? Do focus වගේද මහත්තයා? නෑනේ. Then focus. හරිද? Then focus නෑ. Okay. This is, now this you have to train, my friends. You screen the information you get. It's like, I don't know how to say, it's like you don't see the details of the things. The color, the people, the shapes. You see something vaguely. You don't recognize. So there's an eyeball, you have to do something. So I give you an idea. If you're crossing a road, crossing the, this thing, you look at the vehicles going, up and down. But you don't have to look who is inside the vehicle. Have you? No. This is practice. Now you're walking, some people are walking, passing you. You don't look who they are. But you look the information necessary that you don't knock on them. So this is, if you want to develop, more tranquility in the mind, you have to be careful what you are putting in. Because whenever something sensorial, that happens, this activates the reptilian brain. Especially with, it is very well found, I don't know whether to touch this topic. Thing is, I need at least 3 hours for my program normally. So how to put this quickly? The last I give some this thing, but I'm covering some points. So this is one, okay? So other one is paying attention to the moment. Like I have noticed in Milan, one lady, she came, how, like when she wanted to catch a train, she would notice the compartment, the number. But then the journey from there to there, she would check the feet, how she's feeling the feet, touching the ground. So this small observation, you bring your mind to the present moment. And these are like, normally you have so many opportunities. Then also imagining yourself like going on a holiday. She's doing the right thing. Like, you feel, then you don't sort of bring the pressure. I have to go to office now. I have to go this. You just bring yourself to that. And think of now, my biggest problem is coming for programs. So I put myself carelessly actually. No problem, it's okay. I will give them my blessings to cancel all that waiting. Today was the earliest, I would say, right? Because anyway, so no point how much you get excited, you're just wasting that mental energy. So this is, you have to remind, you have to command your mind. Your mind is used to getting stressful. So you have to command these practices which will make you peaceful and enjoy life actually. You're enjoying the moment properly. So this is one. The other one is, it's a very tricky one. It's actually connected with strong sensual. I told part of it, how the addictions and all that. This also drain the energy. The stress is not with just being mindful with the wheels, no point. You go to the bar after that, you will do things which are going to get, sort of, you are going to cancel that, how much, that's like, the ratio is so small. You do little bit of good, mindfulness and more disturbing things. Then you definitely going to get more stress than peace. Okay? You do what makes you peaceful more, at least 60%, you will get more peaceful state of experience. So it's like that. For how much you give, you get. So the other one I normally tell, 2 things if you don't control, nothing happens. Now I don't know, it's also for the young people. Now I'm giving some answers for some people. Remember this. Now you all wanted to meet me, listen properly, okay? I don't want to pinpoint who, but I'm giving some answers for some people because some were asking me, like some disturbance come in their meditation and so on. I'm giving all the things that which is catching you and draining you. You are destined for great things. You have a great, and especially people who have great destiny only, they are driven to the negative things. Now, if I was not a monk, I will be like mafia, I know. I would be in, because I go to extremes. And because that energy, too much energy is there. So now, luckily, some saints and some angels have changed it to another way. So it goes to the extremes of peacefulness and saintliness. So these people who have energies like that only. So I was feeling in Manhattan, I could create a lot of saints there. I was thinking like this. Because they are full of energy. They have great potential. It only depends on the certain people who are leaders, who are who will come and just trigger that. And it's not people who are not active. They are not having, like just waiting, lethargic. There's something wrong with them. They are not destined for great things. So best place is to go past. I don't want to name that. It's better not. So, but this is important. So now I'm telling something. Two things I used to explain. If you don't control, nothing happens on this path. I tell like this. One is your tongue, and other is the you could say I would say sexual aspect, organ. You can see both are same, red with lot of nerves, and they are directly connected. Whenever any experience is experienced through that, the reptilian brain works. If you look at food, if you think about food, it's the reptilian brain. Okay? And it is well known that the special brain, that is the new brain they call it, according to Darwin theory. I mean, that where we discriminate, analyze, think, and meditation, all that is done in the new brain. Okay? Now, when you have, it was very interesting for me that the MRI scan, it shows the brain function. Now, especially some of the rules laid down by the saints, the masters, it's very interesting. It's like they had an MRI scan too from their meditation. I think they saw the exact brain function. They have laid down rules according to category, like grave offense and minor offense, like that, and it's mainly connected with sexual activity. So there is one rule where at a peak experience of sexual activity, we break, if in case we are monks and some disturbing things come and we break, then that level of experience we have to go through to break that. And that level is known that with the MRI scan, when you check, when you're going through that peak experience in that, say, especially with sex actually, this reptilian brain takes over the entire brain. And it shuts down the thinking and all that. Then that means it's damaging that part. So your entire engrams, it is, it's opened up in an opposite direction to mental peace and Godward. It's completely directed to the reptilian, the animal level. Okay? So when you know like this, when it was very interesting for me, because the old texts are there, but then the medical science, the brain function is very interesting, because it's factual, it is true. So that science part, excuse me, the people who are going, just tell them to stand and just wait, okay? Just stand there a bit. I will give them something. Okay, wait. No, wait. Just stand there. Wait there. Tell them to wait. Wait 1 minute. Therapy matuveva. Dharma saktiyak labeva. Punya bale labeva. Have a good night, okay? It's okay. So, wait, I slowly cover the last parts, I think. It's time. You all have programmed to leave now, I think, right? Is it? If you, so then what happened? Where was I now? So this was very interesting for me. So I find that those days, those rules were, when they were broken only, it was laid down by the masters. It was not laid down just, so it was like 2000 years ago or 2500 years ago. These mistakes or these perversions were happening in only few people. Okay? So when it was happening, then he laid down, don't do this, the commandments or whatever. So one by one, it was for our protection. It's not for something that is for, like, we take it like a religion. I hope you can find out, there's some reason, underlying thing that they discovered. So what happened, it was interesting for me. And then today, those things they were doing in few numbers in that community, today it's difficult to find who are not doing it. Okay? And there is a group, it was very interesting for me, in Europe and in America also, entire group like vegan, vegan or vegan, I don't know how to pronounce that. Vegan, okay. That's like who are interested in nature and food and everything. They are eating vegetables and this and that. So like such a group, there's another group I got to know. It's connected with restraining themselves. They are called NoFap, NoFap or single P. So I don't want to explain this too much. You can stay. Now you see, if you're very attached to hearing my discourse, you'll be little bit irritated by the sound of the baby, right? So attachment is the main irritation, not the sound. So this I want to teach also, that normally I say if they're crying babies, let them be there. It's okay. Check your mind and see where you're attached. This is my training. I want to teach. You don't run away from situations. You see why you're seeing the fault of others. Fault finding is more the biggest fault because you don't check where you went wrong, like because you're attached to something, even spiritually, something you attach, it will create irritation, but then it becomes unholy. For there's no justification of anger or irritation for any reason. So you have to always be looking at your mind. Why am I reacting this way? So I told about this for young people from age of 14. Even some old people, NoFap. You can see now, this is a challenging thing, my friends. These are things that we unconsciously got habituated and no one taught us at school or anywhere in this modern time. And no monk talks about this. Now, in Christian traditions also, they knew. This is demons thing. This kind, like the fluid in the body, there is certain muck that this, the spirits, they eat this. Just imagine they are formed in the body and this drives you to. So now when I'm revealing like that, if there is some, because these are people who are destined to do great things, and they are the very people that is caught by the negative forces. And when that is removed, they'll become stars. So I'm sure this is part of my message, because I see some people who are distracted by cell phones and going into certain websites, and then this how all this cycle takes place. So I found after the blessings, they stopped using it. They stopped and they're controlling the cell phone. They are now, I think one gentleman told me also today when I met him, I'm happy with that. You can't completely stop using it, because you have to leave, you have to use it for your work purpose. But any other thing you will now recognize, there's the demon there, the vampire there, that's going to suck me, and it is going to protect you. And when you keep away from it, you're going to repair that super part of your brain, and you're not. Stress is going to be a foreign thing to you if you do like this. You can't happen. It can't happen. It can't happen if you have. This is because you have. It's not that you have a lot of work that you're having stress. It's because you have not opened that cool part of your brain. When it's open, you will have the same work, but you will have that coolness experience underlying that. So this must happen now. So this only thing I want to cover. So I told how to drive, how to walk, how to look. These are all practices you can do. And the other thing is, meanwhile, you must also begin to see the illusions of life. Also make simple. This will be a new one I'm going to do. I don't know whether to make your life simple, to like simple living, high thinking, they call it, right? Not to go for all these vain things, to redirect your values. I'm going to demonstrate a small thing for this. I was prepared for this. It came yesterday or day before yesterday. When I went to one house, I got to know the American society in a certain way. And also the Sri Lankans, everybody what they are pursuing. So I thought I had to make this small demonstration. Okay, let's see. This is first time I'm doing this. Let's check it out. Okay. So I have, let's see. I have 3 spoons. I'm going to return them. Okay. My devotees there, they don't worry. You might have found them missing, and don't. So temper, you have given me the room for some time. So okay. Um, First time I saw a gold spoon. Tell you honestly, I have known that some are born with a gold spoon or silver spoon. There's a saying. So anyway, so my friends, I'm going to take some pomegranate using these spoons. Okay. I will see how the taste is. I just want to check it out. Okay, a little bit. We check it out. Tastes very fresh and nice. You want a little bit? Not enough. So this gold, huh? Okay. I don't know if it's gold plated, but still it looks gold. Okay. I don't know whether it was brought from White House or something. Is it? Even in White House, I don't think you have, right? Is it? Okay. Then I use something. This is much better. This is like a little less than the. Let's check out. I take from this. This is more. It's type of plastic, but looking more sophisticated one. Huh? Okay. Yep. It tastes very nice. Really. I'm sorry we don't have enough to share. I'm using a very simplest plastic one. Okay. So I take this. You must be wondering what I'm doing this. A cookery demonstration or something. Don't worry, I'll come to a subject. Ah, very nice. Sorry, you had to. All right. So, well, we keep this aside now. Gold spoon. Little bit good plastic spoon. I don't know whether any taste was different when I took in different spoons. The taste was same, my friend. I think the gold spoon was little heavy for me, and the plastic more lighter. Hmm? And I would not worry if the gold stone. I mean, I would worry if the gold spoon is lost. The plastic one, no problem. Okay, but the same job is done. Really, I noticed this. For example, sometimes what you're pursuing, this is the entire this thing that you all are pursuing, going behind. Same thing. I'm thinking I'm sometimes lying down in my nice cave in Sri Lanka, in the forest, and I'm lying down here because I went to the ground, of course. I didn't use the bed. I put the mat, and I did it even as a layperson. When I was a monk, before monk course, I was lying down on the ground in the shrine room when I started practicing at home. I left my bed and everything for some time. So anyway, the same thing. I don't know. You may, this you can see the same thing you're doing. Like what are you pursuing behind? And maybe you spend more time, more energy, and you're going to. I think the greatest crime in this life will be if you don't know the secret of life and die. My friends, I feel touched by, I don't know, some karma with you all, the 9/11. When I see, I still pray for the spirits and the parents and the relations and so on. And the other way, the Syrian refugees. These are two things that are touching me. I mean, if it's external thing, these are the two aspects. Now, the other way, the Syrian refugees. The other side, the 9/11. These innocent people. I mean, I was very happy 2 days back. I was able to go there and, you know, at least do some prayers. Uh, so, so this if you can keep your life simple. I know some people, I don't know whether they have not come today, no? From DC, no? This one lady, she has given up everything. Like, for example, she has gone to a small attic, like a attic or a room. She can do everything there. And she's doing more meditation and more practice. And simplified her job also. So I'm not telling, I'm just giving you an idea. We have very short time. So it's nice you can see the fallacy of this, sometimes of us pursuing vanity, vain values of, even comparing with other. You must see if some really enlightened person comes, how he would really see whether you have done things correctly. Not because a certain civilization, certain kind of culture is going some way. So I hope this illustration will help you. Okay? That is one thing. To simplify slowly, one by one. Focus where your priorities are. Your priorities to get more high thinking, mental peace. Okay, you have to give education to children. Do that. And teach them also simplicity. Show them to value. Create a great heart and a soul in them. And also, you have given great education than the education that is given at school only. So I'm sure this is a short time we have. We must make sure we do these things quickly. Now the other thing, when you're doing these things, there's another practice of meditation where you remove the illusions that you're having. So when you normally go through the ancient texts now, dust to dust and things like this, okay? There's no way to demonstrate some of the things. Okay. Normally we have conceptualizing things. Okay, when we take things together, we get a sense of person. Okay, so there's a meditation where you are now driving calmly, quietly, peacefully. You are generating mental tranquility. For what purpose? Is to get wisdom. Is to see through illusion. So that is another meditation where you analyze and see what is really this world is. You take a small aspect, because it's like you being a scientist, that you see through what is really going on. So I must give you, we have like in the ancient text it says, like those days there's no idea of electrons, right? In the olden times, they sort of told in terms of elements, like hard element, watery element, fiery element, like this. They were the elements they called the material world. What it is made with, those qualities, hard nature, is to put him in one category. Like temperature, one category. Then fluid or movement, this is in the fluidity in one category. So this is the way how the old masters explain. So there's one practice I will tell you, because you might like, now I'm coming to the, what you call it, cherry part of, okay, the last parts, okay. So all this building up for this. Because if you don't purify enough, you don't have the foundation for seeing these facts and truths. So normally it is said, the hardness here is just a hardness, okay? So there's a way where you see in your body the parts that have more hard in nature, like your bones, your teeth, and you take something like a stone, or so when you take it as nature, it's just nature. You don't think it's me there. Okay, these things coming together and a concept coming in you. The concept arises with that. For this I need a scissor, Have you got a scissor? I'll quickly show this. Last one, okay? Towards the last one. Do you feel time pass now? You feel bored? The younger ones? Okay. Let's see. Quickly we do this, alright? I'm going to the last meditation parts. I created... Now, normally when I teach these things in Sri Lanka, I am expecting this also. Thank you. What I expect is that now in the office or somewhere, someone might insult you, scold you, or praise you also. Now I'm thinking today when I'm coming, all these flowers, all that. There is also like the other side of the coin. I have to be careful to see this is like, otherwise a lot of pride and a lot of this thing can destroy that, that tranquility. This is another side of the coin. Someone praising you and someone blaming you. So what happened? So I expect now some of them, they practice these things, and next time when their husband is scolding them or something, they'll be able to see through this, not to conceptually take it. And they would not, when they don't feel that insult, they take it as vibration or some sound or just like not personally, they will not react. So if you learn not to react, that's the part you learn how to master this life. But it's not by acting, it's by you have to focus in a certain way to see it. You're seeing it not from your eyes, you're seeing it from your sort of inner mind, wisdom mind. So to give a little bit idea, I need somebody's hair donation. Oh, you're here today. You all are going to take rest, okay? Khatari. Anyone wants to give their hair? From the seated crowd? You want? Would you like? Yeah? Some donation, Mataran? Okay. He has a lot of hair, you see. So I'm a barber now. He's like my father. My father was combing. Oh, I will not tell about that, okay? So, Matthew, when I pull like this, uh, do you feel this is you? Your hair? You feel, huh? Now he's telling, I asked him, does he feel this hair like you, me? He said yes, okay? He's honest. Take a little bit. Okay. How much you feel now this same hair as you? Not yours anymore. You can take a seat. So fast it became not mine. Do you have a lighter? Lighter रहती ना आदे? ओए पीरिसिया कोई. This is a new one. I'm suddenly doing it. Suddenly the thought. Because I see maybe you're now so fast it became not me. Funny, no? It was because it's in this space, this idea of how the self idea comes to this illusion of a body. We'll see. Don't worry, Now you don't care, it's not you. We are not burning you, right? Okay. Come on, Nemat. But still, he would have liked if everybody was worshipping it, right? No, but he has demonstrated, he has given a chance to foresee. Now, you see what we identify so much with it, that is ourself. But this scissors should be your discriminating meditation, where you separate. When you have a silence in mind, you'll be able to see the reality, that how is in this space, this idea of sense of I gets formed. So like urine also in the body, when it goes to the toilet, in the body it looks like my feeling. But when it goes, it mingles with that water and then you don't get the sense of I. Now this is to be got by your analyzing, observing yourself. And if all the problems or worries or sufferings come when you are living in this delusion, the illusion. But when we separate, if you have few minutes of doing this, and while we are going in Manhattan or somewhere, while driving, you do that part of feeling the steering wheel. Okay, these are first steps. Then you become a master a little more. You use that calmness, not just to go to pass time. It is to see the illusions. Normally we are interested to see illusions. This entertainment is nothing but illusions. Michael Jackson's moonwalk? It is the illusion. He explains, that certain movement which creates the offloading. So the entertainers are mainly creating illusions. So actually we are breaking illusions. That wisdom is nothing but, to see through and through. So I remember one couple, old gentleman and they had a very good time and the wife died. So they just he couldn't believe it. He didn't believe the wife died, So when they took the wife to be, for embalming, to embalm the body, he wanted to really see whether the wife died. So when they were cutting the body and taking those, what is entrails in the body, he was shocked, He was seeing this like a rubber, this corpse. And he was thinking all these years, I was deluded or I was tricked by this puppet-like thing. And it came to his mind that they believe in next birth, right? Rebirth. So in the next birth, if I'm born again, I'm not going to marry. That's what he thought. I have one thought. In case I have to get born, one thing I really fear, I don't fear hell actually. I really fear going to school again. Tell you honestly, it was such a tough time, because it's not for my kind of, this thing. It is, so luckily I had some good teachers and quickly I managed to leave that place. And so in university also I used to tell those days, I went for 2 years because my father forced me, I had to go. And I used to tell some of my colleague friends, what are we coming? What is there to learn from here? And we are supposed to teach something, to give something. And why are we doing here? I used to talk. And then he said, "What is this?" Actually, there was one interesting Muslim. Muslim is a Pakistani boy. He was not studying; he was playing the fool. But he was actually telling me he was having great high regard for America. Okay, America is great. I know. We'll make it great again. Okay. How to make it great? Is by having compassion. Having compassion. I was having a lot of complaints in Washington D.C. Like some of the devotees there, they happened to come and he was trying to tell me like the Green Movement, right? The Green Movement, they're in big trouble. Like they are like now. I don't want to tell because of whom. Okay, so he was indirectly telling me because of somebody we are having a lot of problem. All the the spiritual aspect. I mean the environmental groups and all that. So how to fight? How to do something like that? So suddenly I told him, what you think it becomes. And when you think and you think you want to do something and you lose the source of creation, that is when you have a peaceful state, a peaceful thing will be created. And your very fact of being distracted by all these things. And this is contributing to continue these things. And a very funny thing, I have never done in other countries, when this is the first time when I came to his house and when they offered me something and when I was making my prayers, suddenly, who came to my mind? The picture of Donald Trump, and the whole nation. And certain sort of love and blessings came. I don't know what it was. Like, the whole nation and this particular leader, may he get all this strength and blessings. You must have these thoughts, my friends. There's no, if you have that, it will contribute. You just have, because you have also make it like a religion or kind of an institution, your views and ideas. And you don't entertain someone who doesn't sort of agree with your ideas. This is again, you're becoming discriminative. And when you learn to change the thoughts, when you have those, that's so powerful. It will start to make an effect in the people. There's not hundreds of people who made changes. It was single people. So whenever, if there's some people now in Germany, the question come now, anytime the atom bomb will blast and all this and that. One gentleman was shivering, so I just have to call him. And I just told him, wait, relax. And he said, what to do now, what to do? I said, your thinking is like an atom bomb. Even if the atom bomb is brought in front of you, if you think it's a bed of roses, it will be diffuse. And even if you think before the atom bomb, that atom bomb, and you worry, your thought is going to be to make it happen. So this is something if you get to know. So when I explained to him and when I saw that how he lives in the present moment, undisturbed, he's going to contribute. He had a nice smile. How that John, no? Who was it? John. Okay, yeah. So I was so happy. I wish I was able to be with them and give them some. So he got the idea that just simply looking after yourself. No, it is said like this. Like in the aeroplane. The air hostess, they explain before you give. Like they tell to put your oxygen first before you attend to your child. The same way, you must make sure your interior. is at peace. And if you want to bring peace, keep your peace. Even if someone is disturbing the peace, for you to be disturbed by someone disturbing is going to take away your peace. Okay? So when you keep your peace, you look where you are getting caught up. So nothing will shake you. And you will be a constant source of contributing for that peace to materialize. It all starts from inside, and it will become a concrete thing as time goes on. It's more powerful than chaos. Remember that. Don't underestimate that. I had no fear when I went to the army barracks, when I went into them. They were also wondering, he has no firearms. What is his firearms? It is his compassion and letting go. And that power that's more stronger. And not to, now recently I was in one jungle. This was in 5-6 months back. This jungle is like a national park, so the army camp was giving me food. Like, they used to walk along the river, and there was a hut where I was staying. So when they saw me first, people came to drop me, my devotees, we had to come with, the special vehicles, like, you get stuck in and they had to put a cable, and, that takes it out, and then, like this, it was a very tough journey. So inside the forest, it's all elephants, there are bears there. So in this place, when this particular, when the army saw me, that I was going to stay here for some months, they were shocked. They thought, dude, this is like a small boy, Who is this person? How can he stay like this, But the others told me he has been in the jungles in the past, like that. And so they arranged for me. So later on in the night time, they were all talking, I heard. My devotees were there for one night, and they had to leave the next day. So they told me later, they were talking among themselves, how this, because in the night, you become really lonely, and when they come also to the hut, they will come 4-5 together, not one. They are full trained commandos, but they're so frightened. Then they were wondering why. What is the secret? How is he staying there like that? Then you realize why. Because they have family, and there are so many things, attachments, and they're frightened to die. That's the reason. So, yeah, it's true. Many ask me, what have you achieved, Bante, going in the jungle, going Himalayas? So I also look back, and when I really look back, I notice that whatever I have done, it has helped me to face, in case someone comes, now you're going to die. I think the best thing I have done to face that. Because I have killed already, before death comes, I have killed my defilements. Killed my mind to a certain extent, not fully. Any questions now? We are going to the last part. Any questions you'd like to ask? Okay. Anyone wants to? Yesterday you had the chance, not today. Any question? Or you're all enlightened fully, yeah? You can ask me anything, no problem. You can ask me anything you want to ask. Even a mad question is not mad for me. You might... Anything? Nartina dahanda, maidar hetam binitne. Yeah. Yes?
How do you remain peaceful, like when you're living in a world around other people who aren't?
How to remain peaceful?
Yeah, if it's like when you're alone, like even if they're not families, like even if they're our children, like if there's things that disrupt the peace. So how do you maintain that peace with external stimuli that? Yeah.
But one thing I must tell you, I don't have the experience with children. I never had children, a lot of them running about and so on. So I don't want to tell something which I don't have. But I was in certain situations where there are a lot of disturbances. And it is like this. You must have a daily exercise, like you go for gym. You go for aerobics and all that. You understand? You hear? That's okay. Now you have, like, for example, like you go for aerobics, like yoga and all these things. So you have a certain time you spend for that, right? Okay. So that gives you a training. Now, even not to feel distracted by this thing, you should have sessions of where you're not thinking at all of the external environment. So now I had to do sometimes in office one time. I was working for 2 years. So when I was going for the office, I used to find a place to do this, to be focused and to sort of get that relaxed feeling and not to bring the thoughts and to bring the rushing feeling. So I used to go to the toilet, lock myself, and do this practice. And so when you center yourself, there should be moments where you center and you get the strength where you don't become sensitive too much. So you open up another plane in your mind, a consciousness, where you learn to look from that the other experiences. You understand? So there now I am going in Manhattan. I was very happy. I am not attained the highest state of saintliness which I am thinking, but I was not feeling it much. I was passing through Manhattan, and also when I passed through Eiffel Tower. So my devotee, it was very funny, he was telling Bante, this is the Eiffel Tower. He was going to show me. I said, I'm not going to look at that. I didn't come to France to show you how to look at Eiffel Tower. I have come to show you how not to look at it. And the funny thing, I was telling this like a small secret, okay? He was the driver, and he was the devotee there who was taking me. I was behind. I was at Lourdes later, after some days. Lourdes or Lords, or what's the place? Lourdes, right? Very famous for curing, spring water. I was there. Suddenly there was some Asian people. It was a Sri Lankan, one couple. They passed by and they said, "Is this a monk who didn't look at the Eiffel Tower?" I was surprised, I think this went to the Facebook or something. It just went on like that. I don't know. Now I'm very careful what I'm going to say, because it seems like the world has become so small or what. So it was funny, yeah. It was very funny for me, So you have to really you must do this daily. Now yoga you're doing for the body, okay, for the muscles, and it will be good for the nerves also. But then I told you these points. I don't know whether you heard about some sense, distractions. You see them addictions. When they keep away like that, you create energy for the brain. Now the certain part of the brain is working, but the part where you're not seeing is because of the untrained. The brain is not trained enough, or that energy part is not functioning. So now when you keep away like that, I call this like you're reserving energy and you're pumping energy. So that I call normally like, you have Milo, right? You need a spiritual Milo. So which pumps in that energy, and there you find if something happens, you're not going, you're internally gone enough to a point where you're not. So you'll experience that. So I told you 2-3 things. There are 2-3 weapons. One is to develop that as a daily practice. Then you will not feel stressed and you will have many blessings from that. You will do the work mechanically. You will go through Manhattan or anywhere, so where you are not, you are in, that peace is pervading you. And it's touching all the work you are doing. So that's why don't rush to your work until you get that tranquil level. Normally we do it for the namesake, just little meditation and rushing for the work. No, wait until you get the effect. And try to have sessions of doing that. Go to a toilet quickly, lock yourself, do that. And again, other occasions, like that. More you do it, then you find later, now it is not a external problem. Now when you tell this, very interesting. I remember as a young yogi, when I happened to pass through a city, I was in forest also that time. Then I was passing in Sri Lanka, we have the second capital called Kandy. So when I used to pass from the jungle, after that when I come, then I used to be like very tense monk. Like I don't want to look at things, and I was like very, like not to see things and control myself and go. So later on, I was in the jungle again, and then became a monk and was in the Himalayas jungle and like this long time practicing. Then I happened to go pass through this city again. When I was going, I was noticing myself not like before. When as a young person, I remember I was like this time I am like not very relaxed and then I knew something has happened. Now, surely the city would have been worse now than before. More attractions, more temptations. But I noticed my training there has changed the brain function slowly. So that, that the objects are there still, but now I'm not feeling very much. of this. I'm getting distracted. It's like focused, and so it's my more training of that. Like any other of the physical body, with the mind, more the exercises are done, more you will have slowly. You have patience after now 1 week, another 10 days, or another 1 month, 2 months. For example, say 10 years ago, okay, and now, do you think which moment you are more distracted, and that time or now? Now? Is it? With more family and all? Okay, with kids you're having, yeah, I understand. Because it's a strong attachment. With attachment, but I had grandparents who, did this meditation so much. Great grandma, who was, so she did, even on my mother, I saw her, it's like, she used to do in the afternoon and we used to run around and she used to, so when you get that mastery, you'll be able to separate and feel that air conditioning, cooling effect in the brain. You'll get those things. And when you're doing, and read a bit and replace. And don't worry if you're getting distracted. Don't get attached to the meditation also. Not expecting anything is also meditation. And just allowing the disturbance to happen. Now, another one thing, there are two types of meditation. One, I remember, I was now in Buddhagaya, full of sounds, one time after some time in forest. So they were having a program, it was full of sound, all this chanting and all that. So the organizer knew I'm a forest monk and living in solitude. So in the end of the program, she came and she said, Bande, sorry that we made a lot of sound. It will have been disturbance for you. Then I told her, attachment to silence is the biggest sound. Detachment to silence is the real silence. You understand? So when they are coming, accept it. Just be there. And there's a space in your brain which is it's not you are learning to let go. So in that attitude, you'll find immediately your peace. You're not trying to get to this, get to peace. Get to peace is also a disturbance. So you allow the disturbance, be with it there. That's a nice practice. Anyone else? Yes? I mean, do you have a mic or something? Or I can hear it, I hope. I am very old now, my eyes I can't see.
Early in your speech, you spoke about the visions that you had that led you to your spiritual life. What do you think the source of those visions was?
Interesting. Normally we are known that when we study spiritual literature and things like that, we get the visions. Okay? It's a funny thing. I had no such stimulation. It was like on my own getting. So I can only explain this. I don't know how far you will understand this. Previous lives, Do you have an idea of rebirth and things like that? Like Edgar Cayce, I don't want to force any ideas to you all, Like Edgar Cayce, many mentions. Have you gone through? It's a kind of a miracle man of Virginia, he was known. So this is something, so this is the only way I could explain. Because I don't come from the traditional way of some monk taught me something or this thing. Yeah, you're right. This is the source, I think. So I think always I would have been an old monk practicing hard in a jungle or in the caves and died, So next birth, very young, that was so matured. So suddenly when I was relaxed and not trying to be enlightened, just relaxing, enjoying, just walking for walks actually, this suddenly came up, I would say. Okay. Any other? Someone else? තමන කාටරි අහන්න තියනවද? ගොඩක් අහන්න තිය හාමුදුරන්ගෙන් නේද? උත්තර ලැබෙන. A lot of people have got answers there to digest, I think. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question about karma again. We can define karma. My father passed away in 2014, and I have a very ill mother right now.
Okay.
So is it part of my karma to see that suffering? Because I see my father suffering. I'm not seeing my mother suffering. I'm pretty young, in my 30s. So I wanted to get your views on how karma plays.
Yeah. Normally, it is related to karma as the place. Now we have feelings. Okay? So normally we have the organ for feeling. Feeling is in the consciousness. So we have the body. It's the instrument for consciousness. Okay? So the body is supposed to be the type of body we have the type of consciousness. A frog has a different consciousness. Okay? Another animal because of the different bodies. So normally it is said like, says, when you are conscious of something, now say it makes you have pain, feeling, that until the feeling part of consciousness is past karma. And the reaction is based on, if it's unpleasant, for example, you take it unpleasant, it's the perceiving part. And when you perceive it as unpleasant, you react with greed. Sorry, when you have pleasant, you sort of perceive it as pleasant, you react with greed. When you perceive it as unpleasant, you react with aversion. And it's neutral with delusion. This reaction is the one that happens based how that's what you make new karma. So that reaction is, you will do it in thought, or you might verbalize it, or action. So these are the three ways you are committing new karma. Okay? So the old karma is until the level of feeling. You get it? Like the type of, now you get a bad feeling, it is the, like you would have, so that's the bad, so until feeling, so you get a pleasant feeling. So normally in the human plane is the mix, happy, sad, like this. Okay? But you have a choice now to how you react to that. So how you perceive that. If you perceive it more enlightened, then you will be removing, you are breaking the karma, you will be reducing the karma. And then you will contribute, you will be raising the consciousness of your parents also. Just your presence and the way how you take it, the attitude, you will give a great gift to them. Whoever is left now, your mother or someone. And even your ancestors. There's another story. When you're developing like that, even your father, wherever he is, you will be getting all the blessings. You get it? So you know, up till feelings, the body, kayam puranam kammam, abhisankatang, abhisankchetang etan.
It's like certain things that happen in life are predestined. It's written that way.
No, I think certain, what is some happening, like karma to happen, it has something, but it's not entirely, it depends on how you have been reacting. It can make a big change. You know, you have a lot of free will. The part of reacting is your free will. How you perceive is free will. Otherwise, there's no way to liberate yourself. So don't take now getting a bad feeling is past karma. But to get angry is not past karma. You understand? Do you get this point? You get a bad feeling from somebody, it's past karma. But to get angry, there's no excuse, it's past karma. Get attached or distracted is not past karma. You have a choice, you have a way to change your consciousness. So you go beyond karma. Yeah. Yeah, there are. This is actually when you talk about sad. I mean, short terms when you talk about happy, sad, like feelings in that way. But there are so many other, of course, cause and effect. It has. But this is the main thing that is happening in our life. This is main part of our lives, which is operated by this. Main part with the emotional and the feeling part. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. I understand. Yeah, I understand. I will tell you. You know about the great serial killer called Angulimala. Have you heard? The great serial killer? Angulimala, no? Yeah, of course you know. So, and so just imagine, if he was not reconciled by the master, he would have, even say the king was going to catch him, they were coming with all the, no one could catch him, and then, so if they caught him, he was put to prison, say he's not going to kill anymore. But he'll be still so much worrying about what he did, right? The memories and all that. And also we know, okay, that type of bad karma will take him to hell, for example. Okay? Now just imagine, the master comes just 1 or 2 hours of meeting maybe. He changed that dark situation into a blessing. You see this? What is that blessing? Now just the practice I did, I just demonstrated a little bit, gave you a key to know who you are. What is this? Where there's no person who have done sin. There's no person who this is like an illusionary, you begin to know the dreamy world as a dream. This is enlightenment coming to that. If that happens, all that will burn off. So even if you do other good activities, this can't happen. But with this, if you get this wisdom of self-realization, you will not see a person also. You will not see someone, you see a father also, you will not see. You will not think, these are all like, just imagine that body. For you it would be father, your mother is the husband. So this is all in the consciousness you get this recognition. But consciousness should be, if it's real, it should be same for all. You understand? It's different to different people means it is not a real reality. So, yeah, this like, for example, now, even if you think of something in the past, it's like a dog looking into a well. It sees his own reflection. It thinks there's another dog when he comes out. So, like that, but there's no such dog. So same way you find now everything, any memory you have, it's just because you think about it. So more you understand the nature of consciousness and it should get more pondering, you'll be leaving the past a lot. All these memories and identification. And or the future. Because something same to the past going to be. And the present moment also, you will not take it seriously. Now there you are entering the mental peace, and your negative way of not thinking will automatically drop off. And when it drops off like that, you have liberated yourself. Nothing, now I also can think a lot about, I'm telling what I faced near-death experience and something's happened, demon attack. I'm telling just to give you all some strength, I should not be smiling now. I should be in a mental hospital now. because worrying about all these things. But I just, finished. There's no person. I don't say it's like a personality. Gnanaloka is this. It was trying to catch me that time. Luckily, I saw this. Don't take it. Don't egoize it. Okay, that's what I said. And let it pass. And then, okay, you're new again. So when I have sometimes problems, I remember I had no one to ask. My masters have gone. I found when I was practicing like a cycle, same problems were coming. I also faced one time, I will tell you. So luckily once I met one person who I had some confidence to ask, because everybody is asking me and how I have no one to ask sometimes. So I went to this monk and told, Master, I have this thing like this problem comes again and again. What to do? Then he told me, Venerable, you are like a flowing river. A flowing river in 10 meters, what? If you put some dustbin or some garbage, in 10 meters, the water is what? Pure, right? If the river doesn't flow only, the problem. So when you learn to let go things and go on like that, you find that, you'll be new again and new again. So, but to go like that, you must be mindful of the illusion that there's no person here. And it's a mistake. I have to do this exercise to see who am I, who is this person. And you understand? And then you will touch that peaceful conscious where you're observing, and that very reflection will, free you. Like for example, say someone shouted at you, okay? Where did you see that from? Time, ne? So I think I will keep you until morning. So last question, okay? Last question, yeah. Because you will find, if you reduce your attachment and you are free, you will have less selfish motives. You get this point? You will have less selfish motives. And if you are a wife, you will become a super wife. If you're a husband, you'll become a super husband. If your relationships will become super. Because you will find, because of your selfishness, your lack of self-realization, all your activities are, it's like having a rotten teeth in your this thing. Everywhere your headache, right? Until you think this one is creating headache, that one is creating headache. When it's removed, your whole life experience, it's not you're going to become a monk or something. So this practice, you must daily do it. In the morning, like you get time to wash your face, brush your teeth or something. Same way, moments of focus, reading some spiritual books, applying it to yourself. Look, tell them just 1 minute. Just wait. A lady. I think we'll have to slowly wind up. Okay? It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. Just 1 minute. I'm going to now end slowly. 1 minute. The last I give some blessings. Nobody knows about it. Okay. Right. I wish you all the time, always, wherever I am, maybe in Himalayas also, that you get all the strength to go on your life. So, have a good night, okay? Okay. Quickly, last question, okay? Last one. Okay. You had a lot of questions you asked before. I tell you. Yeah. Understand. Yes. Yes. Actually, if you understand consciousness, now even about rebirth, there was a question asked about rebirth, that how one person asked how to prove rebirth. Okay? This one man, here, a question was asked once from a master, how to prove rebirth. So he asked the person, can you picture a flower? So he said, yes, I can. Yes, what is the flower you pictured? He said, a rose. Then he asked, can you prove that you pictured a rose? You can't, it's in the realm of consciousness. Okay? So when you understand, then rebirth happens, not a body is going somewhere. It is the consciousness. Not going, this is a wrong word. When this is finishing, another thing is arising. It's happening now also. We are only thinking about that birth and death. Now we are also born and dying immediately. When you look like this is dead now, what I saw. When I look like this, that consciousness is dead. It happens so fast. That's why it's very difficult. You get a sense of I to the body. You can remove the sense of I easily to the body. But to the mind is very difficult. Because it's so fast, it looks like a single stream. But you must know, the mind cannot exist without a body. So when the body is not you, the consciousness also can't be you. This is how it's a form of reasoning, and you'll begin to, if you get it properly, you'll be seeing yourself like another person from far away. I think this is the last question, okay? If someone wants to know something, what's the time? Okay. I am going to this, the organizer's place, you see. So if anyone wants to ask something, they could come there and they could ask, this gentleman who is taking me, or the people who have the camera, or they might know, they tell the address, it's close by. So I'm there tomorrow also. Okay, tomorrow, what time? Huh? Morning, yeah. Morning I'm there. So today night I'm there 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, morning, no problem. I go around 4, 5. So you can ask any other. Amali? I think අපිට තේරුම් ගන්න ගියොත් වෙලා යනවා මාත්‍ය. බැරි වෙනවා. So you can ask. I'll have to stop slowly. It's going beyond time, I think. Isn't it, sir? I think. Okay. So last, we do a small 5 minutes meditation. Just before you start, you must learn to warm up a little bit. You can take your hand a little bit, relax a bit. Don't worry, you don't look dignified, but it's okay. Take all the stress away. And and relax. Now, when you're done that, just learn to let go. You're nicely seated, this comfortable posture. And keep your hands relaxing. Have a nice, just think you're in front of a beach or somewhere. And pay attention to the sounds you're hearing immediately. Relax and pay attention. You can hear the sound of a fan or something. Like shh, like this, some sound. Nicely pay attention to the sounds and relax. And when you're really paying attention and relaxing, not trying to do anything, no meditation, nothing. There's a baby making a sound. You'll find your lungs expanding, like inhalation and exhalation. You will notice it naturally. When you're putting the breath out, how you sort of bring the breath in. That should happen naturally, you should notice. You don't try to notice it now immediately, but when you're relaxing, when you naturally noticing that, you have come to the present moment to a certain way. That's a good sign. After that, so you must try to do it whenever you are going, driving, everything slowly, every time you try to do this. And then you can sort of practice. See your body. I was talking about how it is not you, how I cut the hair, how this wrong illusionary idea of self. If I see this truth, this fact, like the ancient masters, how they, when they were cutting the hair, they saw this truth. Some monks in the past, they were so ripe for enlightenment. So they suddenly saw the whole truth of life, that it was not a person there. So if that knowledge comes to me, how peaceful I am. I will not worry about the past, the future, or the present. I will be at peace and just do my duty without too much involved in it. So ancient masters, they tell it in the language, old language. Rupam bhikkave anatta. Body and consciousness is not you. Why is it not you? They question. Abhadaya. Abhada means is subjected to affliction. So you check, you get old, you get sick, and suddenly you don't want to feel something else you feel. When it's not in your control, this is suffering. Sangvatteya labbeta cha vedana evam me vedana hotu evam me vedana ma hositi. May the feelings be like this. May the feelings not be like that. It doesn't follow your orders. When you just simply note this thing, whether you have a physical problem or a mental problem, you will find a big difference. You will separating yourself from the illusion of self. If that happens, your mind will reduce from getting angry, greedy, or deluded. When purity comes, how happy I am. May this peaceful state pervade to all the people in this hall. May they come closer to liberation. May all of them come to inner happiness. The whole hall, like you're going in a helicopter, the neighbors around, and this vicinity, slowly you spread these particular feelings of compassion. They all now may be sleeping in their rooms. You picture them. Entire New Jersey, like you're going in a helicopter. All the human beings, may they come to this peace. They all like happiness. May they get that. Not only New Jersey, North America, entire North America, Central America, South America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Mediterranean, England, India, China, Iran, Iraq, China, a lot of people, Russia, Australia, the entire globe, all human beings, like ants everywhere, Taiwan, Japan, may all human beings come to this state of enlightenment, peace of mind, purity. Not only human beings, animals, unseen spirits, thousands and millions of them, and the lower beings in heaven, hells, may they get a human birth and go on this path of liberation. Not only those beings, the angel worlds, higher worlds, even the highest types of consciousness. Even sometimes they have no anger, no greed, but the sense of I, to even the subtlest feelings of peace also. That illusion, when it fades away, how blissful it is, like the finally enlightened masters. May that peace pervade from the highest to the lowest worlds. May all of them experience eternity and come to inner peace, free from suffering, free from fear of death. May every being, so like you are looking from space, something outside. May you all experience that. And I'm going to give some blessings. Only thing, this particular thing I'm going to do, it's like coming from the mountains, the ancient masters, certain energy. For this, tonight you must try to be quiet, keep silence. This energy will sink into more blessings will come in the night. But you have to talk something, okay, you have to do that, no problem. Take dinner, but try to keep relaxing so that on tomorrow morning you can talk. This will give you more blessings in the night also. So, I wish you all the strength, peace of mind. Not only here, entire America, and all those souls in 9/11, and the entire nation, and other nations too, all over the world, Syria, all humanity, get this peace of mind, free from all worry and highest peace. Nibbana. Sobhadritva. Dukhim midetva. Nivan suvalabhatva. Just anyone have any particular problem you feel is still not solved, or it's some, you can slightly raise your hand if you want me to bless you all. I have some small thing I want to give, but I can't do it now. Okay. So in case where my organizers, where I'm staying, I'm available tonight also until 1 o'clock and tomorrow morning. So if something urges you, I'm available for you too. If you want to ask something, or if you want to get something which you find you have a problem, which you can keep your hands down slowly. Teruvan saraning වහන්සේගේ මහා ගුණ බලය දස දිශාවට විහිදත්වා. සත්‍යයි. ඒ උත්තම ශක්තිය. May you all get peace of mind and happiness. No suffering come to any of you. May the angels all protect you all and free from all worry and fear. So, Craig Bruce. වහන්සේ කල්ප ගණනාව පිසිතට දෙවියන්තුනි මම පිසිතෙනවා මට ශක්තිය